So the beginning of April, thereabouts, or late March, I threw some money at a small business idea that I had. I started working for a internet bookstore that paid very little. Just it's a few hours a week, so it's just a couple hundred a month. Really, only like a couple hundred a month. But it taught me a lot about doing your own business, and I approached him with the idea that, look, I want this job because I want to start my own home business. Well, it turned out that he was going to close up shop. He didn't know this until after I started working for him for about 2 months, because he got a job in Kentucky as an associate professor, which is nice because right now he's only an adjunct professor. So that's definitely a step up in the academic world. So good for him. But as a result of that, I felt inclined to start a book business of my own without having to compete with him. At present, technically I am, but he's closing it up here in the next couple months, so I don't feel too bad. And he knows that I am, so it's all good. What I want to do with this online business, which is basically completely, exclusively Amazon retailing at this point, books, of course, is I want to start an affiliate program with a charity that I'm quite fond of called WaterCan, and who take it upon themselves to go to places of need, impoverished areas around the world, Ethiopia and Africa and whatnot, and drill freshwater wells for these villages. What I like about it so much is that after the charity leaves the village is left with something residual. It keeps pumping water, you know. The aquifer doesn't go away. It's there to stay, at least for a considerable amount of time, as opposed to donating to a charity to feed somebody for a day. It's the whole fisherman parable thingy. And what I would like to do is, the reason I'm telling you all about this is I'm going to give you a link to my Amazon storefront. And right now I don't have a very good way of organizing them. Amazon doesn't give me much options for that. But if you click through some of the more recent ones, you will see that it is a charity item, exclamation point. And any time in the description that I had put charity item, that is a book that I have set aside for proceeds to pitch at WaterCan so that they can continue to do their thing. Basically how it works is if you purchase one of these books, you will receive a little invoice from me saying how much you paid in total plus shipping, how much Amazon took from me, because they do have fees. It's essentially what you pay in shipping is absorbed in Amazon fees, so I end up paying shipping myself even though you pay for it. But anyway, so minus all those costs, minus the cost of shipping, and then whatever profit I have left over that I would normally put in my own account, my own business account, I split in half. I put half in my account and I send the other half to WaterCan. And in all practical senses, what I do is I keep a tally of it and I send them one check at the end of the month. And if you're interested in that, you should check it out. Basically, the books that I list as charity items are ones that I have been donated. That have been donated to me. And instead of trying to profit off them 100%, like I did initially to overcome my initial startup costs, now I'm kind of at a point that I'm like, no, look, this really can work. And I have a system down and I'm much more comfortable doing the business day to day. And so I want to give back. That's the lofty ideological sense of things. On the more practical businessman side, it hopefully will make inventory acquisition all the easier, because if I approach someone, say at a yard sale, and say, look, I'm a book dealer, I'm a real guy, I'm registered with the state, right? And what I want to do is use all of your books for this Water Books program and explain it to them as I have for you, and see how many they just give me for free, which is much easier than trying to wrestle for cheap books online, which is basically what I'm doing now. I get my ass kicked on eBay. There's no blah. I have a system down that I basically get, I don't know, I'd say 4 to 6 books a week, but that kind of incoming volume is not enough to sustain something that hopefully will one day pay my rent. No, we're not there yet. But anyway, hopefully, so it's a win-win situation. I'm really excited about it. I hope you are as well. A lot of different things there. I don't do just textbooks. I mentioned that in the last video. That's not accurate. I do all sorts of shit. As a result of this kind of a personal boon, is that my eyes are in the market so much for cheap books that I end up buying things for myself from time to time that I think I'm interested in, and I'm reading, which is very odd for me. I don't usually read. I'm now reading every day, out of one book or another, whether it's some, Japanese murder mystery shogun style book that I got for cheap, or it's a book on small business, or it's a book on making candles and little crafty things like that, that I have a craftsman soul inside of me that I need to, bring out from time to time. And so it's very cool. So every day I do that. A little bit more about the business that you might find interesting is I will process the orders in the evening and then again in the morning if there were any stragglers, while I was asleep. And then I throw all the books in a bag and I bungee the bag to my bike and I bike it down to the post office, which is kind of cool. I also recycle a lot of shipping materials. It doesn't look too pretty, but the product inside is well protected nevertheless. And that cuts down not only on my costs, but on waste as well that my business produces. Anything that I can recycle as part of the business, I do. And like I said, the first couple miles anyway of its journey to your doorstep was done without any carbon emissions at all. I think. Maybe flatulence has something to do with carbon emissions. I'm not sure. That's methane. Is that methane? No. Anyway, whatever it is, yeah, on a bike for the first leg of things. And that's just kind of what I do. It's kind of my daily routine, and I'm really obsessed about making this work, because if you're like me, once you get into this kind of a thing, you want it to work so bad because you can't think of going back to work for someone else. There's a survey, a pretty popular survey, given out to small business owners, and they said, what are the reasons that you started a business? And the top 3 were things like they wanted to be their own boss, they wanted to do things their way, and they wanted to do, implement ideas that they didn't have the opportunity to implement in their old work, or wasn't appreciated enough to do, or whatever. It was not anywhere in the top 3 that had any indication of money. To make money was their number 4 priority as part of this survey, and that really is the case. Actually, just yesterday I went down to a temp agency to give them my resume and try to get a job with them, to do little things on the side, and temping sounds like a cool deal for me because then I don't have to worry about too much. You just sort of go and you work the hours that you want to work, and it's super flexible. But I showed up to this place, I called them and I immediately was sent to their voicemail, right, the 2 times that I called, and they said, well, just come down and meet us between such and such an hours at this address. I go down there, I peek in their window, because it's part of a suite, like a larger office complex. So I look in their suite, and there is not a desk or a person or a shred of paper to be found. It's completely empty. And on the glass there in the front of the door, you can see their name has been scratched out. And they're no longer there, even though their answering machine says to go there. So that was kind of annoying because it was on the other fucking side of town, and I don't like driving. I hate to drive. I hate burning gas. I hate the pollution. I hate the cost. I hate the risk of killing myself or someone else because I'm on like a big old box of bolts that's whizzing around on an independent wheel system, and it makes no sense on so many different levels. Fuck cars. Anyway, there it is. Cool. That was a ramble. But it was a ramble that you endured, so congratulations.